Good morning and welcome to Ag Talking Raw, where I talk raw about agriculture and the other things that are on my mind. Today, today's today. Haven't been on YouTube too much, just haven't had time for it, and nobody wants to see what I'm doing anyway. I'm just doing. What the hell am I doing? Oh, I was hauling lime. The last week or so, I've been hauling lime. Bringing it in till the lime pits are all out of lime. There's no lime to be had. If you can get it, you're lucky. If you show up there and they don't have any, then you go home empty. I did that the other day, wasted almost 160 miles driving to get lime that didn't exist, just wasn't there, and they told me that it was there. So it's kind of a sad situation when you go and do that. It's not kind of a sad situation. It is. It's like, holy shit, I just wasted, probably $150 worth of fuel. Every bit of that anyway. Every bit of that. $150. Because that truck only gets 4.5 miles to the gallon. So for $1 a mile, just in fuel, not to mention 3 hours worth of time, 160 miles, $160 worth of fuel gone, wasted. Yeah, ridiculous. I mean, anyway, called them up. They're like, oh, well, when I got there, the guy's like, well, you should really call before you come. It's like, I did. We called this morning. It's like 6:15 this morning, and you got who said that? And I told him, and he was like, how the hell would he know? But anyway. So I haven't been up there since. That was last week. I did go out to a lime pit out in Lancaster and pick up a load of lime out there, and that's great, right? Great. But that lime pit just capped an attitude in the loader, which I don't give a damn. But they didn't have any lime either. They were running out. So I don't know. It's that time of year. And I think what I'm going to do this coming year or this summer is I'm going to, on a rainy day, just go get lime. Just go up and get lime because nobody's thinking about lime in the middle of the summer. So what I'm going to do is actually spread this lime that I have just strictly on corn ground. And where I put my soybeans, because I won't be putting soybeans in until later after the wheat. We're doing double cropping this year, 300 acres. That's those soybeans. I'm gonna take the weed off, have Timothy or someone, I don't care who it is, spreading lime. If I have a hired man at that time, I don't know. We'll have somebody spreading lime so that the job gets, the lime gets on the beans. Beans are calcium whores. They love calcium. So if you don't know that and you're planting soybeans and your soybeans are not doing what they should be doing when they're supposed to be doing it, chances are you're calcium deficient. Calcium and potash are like the two main things for soybeans. Of course, boron and other stuff like that as well are very important, but calcium and potash, two number one things that you need to get your soybeans. It's good for test weight. It's good for plant vigor. Calcium is like a superconductor for the mineral, the flow of the fertilizers or your nutrients going up and down that plant. Calcium, soybeans. Same thing with wheat. So what I'll do is we'll take the weed off, and I'm hoping that this goes this way. It depends on how busy I am, which I think I'm going to be about as busy as a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest here. I've got a baler that needs to be rebuilt. Just spent $42,000 in parts. Just to get that damn thing, the parts for that thing, and I don't even think I have all the parts that I need. I know I don't. I have to get VFS parts as well. Those VFS parts are expensive, and I will Yeah, those VFS parts are very expensive, and I need to rebuild that thing. There's bearings that need to be rebuilt in it. There's a lot of things that need to be rebuilt in it, and it's going to cost thousands upon thousands of dollars to do that. Um, I don't know if I'd be able to get away with it this year or not, but I don't know. It's better to fix it now versus have a failure later, obviously. But yeah, that's the deal with that. So what was I going to talk about? Okay, so now down to the meat and bones of the of this video. It's about the USDA and what they're doing to us. The USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. If you don't know, they compile information uh, voluntarily from farmers. Well, it's kind of forceful. It's forceful, voluntary forcefulness. I personally will never fill out an ag census ever again. I think it's a joke. I don't think that they need to know what we're doing, and I think that everybody that is not involved with the USDA or even involved with the USDA needs to leave the clutches of that organization. You're probably thinking I'm crazy. Why would you do that? We get money from them. No, you don't. You get a pain in your ass from them. Now, maybe some farmers out west or even locally here have no problem with running into the Farm Service Agency and signing up their ground for the penance that they give us when they do decide to give us money, subsidy. The subsidy is so minute, it's not even worth my time. And I'm not a small time Charlie. We're farming close to, if not over, well, the way I've got it figured, we're farming over 4,000 acres of between hay and grain. I will have 16, 12, 13, 14, 15, 1,600 acres of row crops in the ground this year between the corn and the soybeans. The wheat, once I take the wheat off, that's going to be another, that's 300, so that'd be 16, 17, 18, 1,900 acres of actual grain that will need to be harvested, and starting with the wheat and ending with the corn. Of course, then they got a plant in between there as well. Plus, there's the 2,000 acres of 2,000 plus acres of hay that I need to do, and there's always that's the most demanding of my time is the hay. Grain, that's easy. Anybody that says grain farming is difficult, you guys get a lot of break time, downtime. Of course, you're scouting fields, which is fun. It's not really like work, You scout the fields until you can't get over the corn anymore, or the soybeans. Watch for aphids and tripes and all those other things. Thrips, whatever you want to call the little bastards that suck the sap out of your soybean fields. And of course, then a lot of guys don't even own their sprayers, so they just call up and have the fertilizer company come out and spray them and do their thing there. But hay farmers, we're on it all summer long. All summer long, especially if it's a wet summer. Then it's a stressful time. We had a major failure with a fire, which screwed me up for the remainder of the year last year, and there's still hay out out there that needs to be baled, which is fine for me. I can still go out and get it. No big deal. But anyway. This census and this USDA reporting, if you're a farmer, or if you're a farmer, that once a month the USDA calls you and asks you stupid questions like, how many bushels of grain do you have in storage? Or how many bushels of storage do you have on your farm? That's what they start out with. So they want to know the total amount of bushels you can store on your farm. And this is basically for people that aren't farm oriented. How many bushels do you have as storage? You tell them, well, I got 30,000 bushels of storage, or I got 100,000 bushels, or I got 250,000 bushels of storage, whatever you've got. They want to know that. And then they go through the list. How many bushels of corn do you have stored? And then you go, well, I have no bushels of corn stored. Oh, really? Out of all that storage, you don't have any bushels of corn? Well, no, asshole. This is a business I got to run, and I had to sell it. How many bushels of soybeans do you have? Well, I don't have any soybeans stored. Oh, well, really? Of all the acres of beans that you planted, you don't have any left? I'm like, no, I sold them. I had bills to pay. That's the whole premise here. So whether they write that down accurately or not, I don't know. Same thing with wheat, and then they ask you your hay crops. They don't want to know about grass. They want to know about alfalfa. They want to know about, silage. They want to know about all this stuff. And fools tell them what it is. I tell them I don't want to talk to you. And I don't want to talk to you. I don't think you need to know what I have in storage. Well, it's blah blah blah. It's for the good of the whatever. So yesterday I had a call for the U.S. Ag Census, 2022 Ag Census. I think I've got one of those around here someplace. I don't know. Might have threw the damn thing out. I'm not even sure. But at Census for 2022, it's about 20 pages long. And the guy says, have you received, he called me, he's like, have you received your 2022 Ag Census? I'm like, yeah, about a half a dozen of them. He's like, okay. Says here I've got that you haven't filled it out. I says, yeah, I'm not going to fill it out. And he said, well, you know what? I am going to fill it out. Oh, okay. Do you need help filling it out? And I says, do I need help to fill out the Ag Census? Well, no, I can still spell kiss my ass. I'm smart enough. I can still spell kiss my ass. He says, really? I said, yeah, really. I said, I'm going to write kiss my ass on the front page, and then I'm going to, mail that in. He's like, wow. He says, well, if you want, he says, I can come out and I can help you fill it out. And I said, well, I'm going to tell you something. About 10 years ago, a woman used to call me up and annoy the shit out of me over the Ag Census. And I told her that I was not going to fill it out. And she says, well, it's the law. You have to fill it out. And I was like, okay, if it's the law, send the FBI and they can come and arrest me. I don't care. And then she just quiet for a minute. She says, well, we actually don't send anybody out. She says, but I have to get this thing filled out. I says, well, then fill it out. Fill out whatever you want to put in there. Make yourself happy. She says, no, I'm coming to your farm and I'm going to help you fill this thing out. I said, I don't need help filling it out. I'm not filling it out. Well, wouldn't you know it, she showed up. And she says, we're going to fill this thing out. I need it done. It needs to get done. I was like, I'm not doing it. I said, you want to fill it out? Go ahead and fill it out. Fill it out for whatever you want. She says, you made me drive out here to help you fill this out, and you never filled it out. You're not going to help you fill it out? I said, no, write in there whatever you want. Well, she wanted me to sign it at the end. I'm not signing it. No, sign it yourself. You filled it out. So whatever she put in there, probably wrote combatant on the damn thing. So yesterday, we'll fast forward to today, or yesterday, when this nice man called me up and he's like, I said, I'm not filling it out. I said, I'm going to write kiss my ass on every single page, front and back. And on the very last page, I'm going to write, if you're still here, if you're still reading this, go fuck yourself. And we'll see. We'll see how that goes. He thought it was kind of funny. He says, I can honestly tell you that you're not alone. There's quite a few farmers that don't feel the need to fill this thing out. And I'm not going to force them to do it like that woman did, because I told them the story. And I was like, yeah, well, whatever. Do what you want to do. I'm not filling it out. If your office feels that it needs to be filled out, go ahead, fill it out with whatever you want to fill it out with. I don't care. I'm not doing it. No, he says, no, you can do what you want. And I says, yeah. I said about the FBI, and he's like, no. He says, they're not going to send the FBI after you. But it's a scare tactic. So a guy that's 50 years old or 40 years old, like I was 10 years ago, a 50-year-old man that sees punishable by law is like, fuck you. I know what it's like. But you get these guys that are either young, that don't want to have a run-in with the law, Or you get the guys that are old, or women, men, women that are old, farmers that are old. They don't want to deal with that crap. They just fill it out because it's a scare tactic. Like, oh, I don't want the authorities here. How can there's a law? Oh my goodness, there's a law. I didn't realize. Tell you something. The less our government knows about us, the better off we are. Pay your taxes, even though they're unconstitutional, but pay your taxes because that's the way it is. You got to do that. Pay your taxes. Not all taxes are unconstitutional. Income tax is unconstitutional. Death tax is unconstitutional. A sales tax is constitutional. You should pay your sales tax on just about everything that you buy. But income tax, death tax, inheritance tax, whatever you want to call that, unconstitutional. But people just pay it because they don't want to run in with the law. But there's nowhere anywhere, there is no law that says, oh, you're a farmer? You must comply. I don't comply with anybody's shit. I just don't. Unless it's herbicide application, stuff like that. Then I comply because nobody wants to poison the rivers and the streams because you're liable. And there are laws on the books that protect those fish, frogs, and God knows whatever other birds and shit that land in that water that will cost you millions of dollars that most farmers just don't have. They'll put you out of business with that stuff. So that's what I'm going to do with that ag census. And I encourage everybody to not fill that thing out. And you're probably wondering why. Well, if you don't know, that information is compiled and added all up, and it is used against us in a way that most farmers don't think is used against us because we all like to watch the Chicago Board of Trade. When soybeans are high and soybean meal is high and the corn is high, it puts these gears in our head. Wheat goes high, and then it's like, oh, well, if I take my beans off early enough, I can get my wheat in early enough. If I take my corn off early enough, I can put wheat or something behind that. And then I can grow my wheat, and in the summertime, when wheat is $12 or $10 or $9 or $8, I'll be making really good money in the middle of the summer, and I'll bale the straw off, and I'll be able to sell that to the horse idiots that don't pay, and then, yay, life is good, right? No. So this is what these censuses do, and these crop reports do. If they don't like what is written down in those crop reports, I have no doubt in my mind that they fudge those numbers. I really have no doubt in my mind that someone at the USDA fudge those numbers. So what they'll do, and if you haven't watched commodities or the grain markets on the Chicago Board of Trade or wherever else they trade these things, and your local mill or elevator, just before wheat harvest, the price tanks. Ooh, the price tanks. Then, that crop report, say July for us, the crop census or the crop report goes, they call you up and say, hey, did you have any wheat this summer? Yeah, I did. How was the yield? Well, I averaged 45 bushels or whatever I averaged. And do you have any in storage? Why, yes, I do. And they compile all this shit, and then it gets published into a report. The investors at Chicago Board of Trade say, hey, we're actually short on wheat from what we thought we were going to have. And then they buy into that commodity. Now you got 1 month with that. So you buy into that commodity, and their little reports are compiled, and then all the guys out there, they're buying this wheat, and that creates a demand on the markets, and then the price goes up 50 cents, $1, and they just made millions of bucks, which is fine. That's what they do. But who lost? Who lost? We did. We did, because they screwed us just before harvest with the price. Harvest price, yes, you can contract, you can forward contract. Lately, the last few years, forward contracting has not paid off. Honestly, it's been several years. The forward contracting has not paid off. Yes, you got a place to take your grain when you want to. I just go for cash price, or cash price. What was the other thing that I did? I think I stored. Did I store it? deferred, whatever I did. I don't know, just stupid. I did have contracts that I had made on corn, forward contracted on corn, and I did okay, but still cash price was king at that point. So, yeah, life is good, right? Uh, but anyways, I encourage people to stop talking to them because it's not helping you. The less they know, the less they can manipulate the markets, and the less of us that report. They're more blind, and they can't compile that information. The yield is going to be much lower. The stored grain will be much lower. Therefore, when they file that report and the Chicago Board of Trade looks at it, I'm like, wow, last year there was 100 million metric tons. This year there's only 80 million metric tons. What happened here? Well, if we could get 10% of the farmers to quit filling out that stupid census, we would all make money. We would. Everybody would, because the price would be, we could manipulate the price. Stop giving up your information to these people. And I'm sure they will go on projections then. They won't just say, oh, well, these reports came in, and they'll just project these reports, and that'll be that, and it won't change anyway. But you'll have peace of mind that you did not help to lower the price of grain. So everybody gets screwed except the investors at the Chicago Board of Trade or everywhere around the world. And I'll bring in one more valid point here. Yesterday morning, before the markets opened, China came in and bought 2.6 million metric tons of corn, and by noon the price of corn had gone down 4 cents. 2.4 million metric tons. And then they made another purchase after the market opened, but my dad didn't tell me what that was. My dad watches it a lot. He didn't tell me how many bushels that was. He couldn't remember at the time. So how many million metric tons did they buy in March alone? It's a lot. Yet we're at a stagnant price. It doesn't move. Why isn't it moving? Wheat going down. We got drought in Australia, drought in Brazil, Argentina, and there. We got drought all over this world. Huge droughts. England, Europe, Eastern Europe, Western Europe. It's drought. Rice production. Drought, dry. Okay. Well, Ukraine didn't plant the wheat that they were supposed to. Plus, the Russians are doing their thing. So why isn't the wheat, why isn't the price of wheat going up? Wheat should be $12, not $6. I'm looking at this wheat price. I'm like, I'm going to harvest 300 acres of wheat. The rest of it's going into corn, and that's it. I'm going to put it into corn. There's one farm that I'm going to put corn into that has wheat on it, but the soybeans, I had 450 acres of soybeans last year. I'm only going to have 300 acres of soybeans this year, just because I just don't feel that the fight for the deer and the other elements. I didn't do well on soybeans this past year, even though the beans looked okay. They went through hella drought. They rallied later on. They still probably averaged somewhere around 30 bushels maybe. How many bushels did I average? Wasn't great. Most of the farms were 30s in 38 bushel. 38 bushels pretty damn pathetic. We should have been double that. But dry weather and, just sucked. It sucked. So I'm going to take the beans off, the wheat off, double crop, and if I get 38 bushels then, after wheat, then I will have made some pretty decent money then. But I'm not too gung ho on doing soybeans again this coming year. But I'm going to do them. I'm going to do 300 acres, and I'll put down my deer repellent to keep the deer off. I'll do that during the wheat. So when I put down, I'm going to put it in the wheat and spray it on. When I burn down the wheat, I'm going to put that product down, and that'll get the deer off of there for the soybeans. Plus, the stubble will be about yay high, and that will definitely keep the deer out of those beans long enough for them to get up above the canopy of up above the wheat stubble. But I'm going to turn that wheat. I'm going to turn it with glyphosate, and I'm going to gain 2 weeks, at least 2 weeks of. I'll be 2 weeks ahead of schedule, which 2 weeks on soybeans is huge. So instead of planting, say July 10, I'll be planting June 20, which will be good. Ooh, my sunlight just came up. That's nice. So June, I'll be planting in June, which is fine. I planted right up to July, not so good, July 4th, and it's okay. July 4th is fine. I can live with that, but I want that wheat off, beans in, lime on, and up and running, so my wife will be running the drill as me and Tim are harvesting wheat, and I'm just going to dump it right in a bin and run air on it. So, but anyways, with that being said, I can't wait for, wow, that was really cool. So I have my Apple computer, and I'm on Catalina. That's the most operating system that this particular computer can run. It's Catalina. The sun comes up, sunrise, and then all of a sudden it turns like this yellowish hue, and then it turns into full sun because it's sunny outside. It runs that automatically, which I like. So, but anyhow, that being said, I think I'm done. Enjoy the day. If you don't like this video, too bad. If you did like the video, hit a thumbs up. It'd be fine. Thank you.